The night was dark and cold as the wind swept through the abandoned docks of New York Harbor. The moon, barely peeking from behind thick clouds, cast eerie shadows across the water. Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, crouched atop a rusted shipping container, gazing down at the covert operation unfolding below. This wasn't his typical kind of mission. He wasn't chasing criminals in alleyways or battling supervillains. Tonight was different. Tonight, he was on a covert mission with none other than Captain America. Captain Steve Rogers, with his usual calm and composed demeanor, was standing in the shadows below. He raised a gloved hand, signaling to Spider-Man to stay put for the moment. They were here to infiltrate a secret Hydra base hidden beneath the docks, a place no one knew existed until S.H.I.E.L.D. intercepted coded transmissions. It was Hydra's operations hub, and they were developing something dangerous. "Stay sharp, kid," Cap's voice came through Spider-Man's earpiece. "This is about stealth, not strength. Follow my lead." Spider-Man resisted the urge to crack a joke. This was Captain America he was working with, after all. And this mission was different. Normally, he swung into situations, web-slinging and quipping his way through battles. But tonight, it was about moving in the shadows. No flashy entrances. No loud web-swinging. Just pure stealth. Spider-Man took a deep breath. "I can do this," he thought. No webs, no punches unless absolutely necessary. Just sneaking around like a ninja. They approached the entrance to the base, a large metal door hidden behind stacks of rotting crates and forgotten machinery. Steve pulled out a small device from his belt, expertly disabling the door's security system with a series of beeps. The door slid open with a quiet hiss, revealing a long, dimly lit hallway that descended underground. Spider-Man stuck to the walls, crawling on all fours, while Captain America walked carefully, his shield strapped tightly to his back. The hallway was eerily quiet, the only sound being the faint hum of machinery somewhere deep within the base. Spider-Man's instincts were screaming that something wasn't right. He couldn't put his finger on it, but the silence, it was too perfect. "Cap, are you sure they don't know we're here?" Peter whispered into the comms. Cap's voice was low but steady. "Stay focused. Hydra's tricky. Expect traps." As they moved deeper, they passed through a series of rooms, some filled with strange equipment that looked like a mix of science fiction and military hardware. No guards yet. Spider-Man felt his spider sense tingle faintly, but he couldn't pinpoint any danger. Then, they entered a massive room, the heart of the Hydra base. Dozens of monitors blinked with encrypted data, and in the center stood a glowing blue device that hummed with strange energy. This was it. The weapons S.H.I.E.L.D. had warned them about. Captain America glanced at Spider-Man and nodded toward the device. "That's what we're here for. We take that down, Hydra's entire operation collapses." Spider-Man was about to respond when the floor beneath them shifted. His spider sense flared, but it was too late. Metal grates snapped shut over the exits, and from the walls, panels slid open, revealing dozens of Hydra soldiers, each armed with high-tech weapons. "Cap, I think we've been made," Spider-Man muttered, dropping down from the ceiling. Cap gritted his teeth. "Looks like Plan B." As the Hydra soldiers closed in, a voice echoed through the room, a voice Spider-Man didn't recognize, but Cap did. The voice was smooth, calculated, and filled with malice. Whoa. Steve Rogers. Always the righteous soldier, aren't you?" A man stepped forward from the shadows. A man in a black Hydra uniform, his face partially hidden by the shadows. But the face was familiar to Steve. It was Brock Rumlow, better known as Crossbones, a Hydra operative who had survived more battles with Captain America than anyone should have. "Crossbones," Captain America growled, tightening his grip on his shield. "You didn't think Hydra would just let you waltz in here, did you?" Crossbones sneered. "We've been watching you. You and your little spider friend." Spider-Man's spider sense went into overdrive. He was surrounded, but worse, it felt like something was wrong beyond the soldiers. Like an invisible hand was pulling the strings behind all this. Crossbones laughed. "You really thought it was going to be that easy?" But something else happened that Peter hadn't anticipated. A flicker on one of the monitors, a masked face, obscured and eerie, appeared briefly. Peter didn't recognize it at first, but it wasn't just Crossbones they were dealing with. Hydra had help from someone else, someone Peter had faced before. Mysterio. Mysterio's here? Peter whispered to Cap, "This is all a trick." Before Captain America could respond, the room flickered again. What they thought were dozens of soldiers began to disappear. Mysterio had been using his holograms to create false enemies and illusions. The room wasn't what it seemed. Crossbones smirked. "Welcome to the real battle, boys." Captain America threw his shield, and it ricocheted off several walls before hitting the hidden projector that Mysterio had been using to create the illusions. Suddenly, the base's real layout was revealed. The soldiers were fewer in number, and they had been hiding behind the illusions for cover. Spider-Man leaped into action, his webs snapping out to disarm several soldiers. His senses were razor-sharp now that the illusions were down, and he could dodge the attacks with precision. Cap took out the remaining guards with brutal efficiency, using his shield to deflect blasts and knock enemies unconscious. But Crossbones wasn't going down that easily. He charged at Cap, fists clenched and ready to fight. The two engaged in a brutal hand-to-hand battle, trading blows that echoed throughout the room. Meanwhile, Spider-Man swung toward the blue device. "Cap, I'm on it," he shouted as he landed beside it, trying to figure out how to disable it without triggering something catastrophic. As Captain America fought Crossbones, Spider-Man worked fast. His hands moved with the speed of thought, webbing the device to short-circuit it. But just as he was about to finish, Mysterio's voice came through the speakers. "You think you've won? You're still inside my illusion, Spider-Man." Peter froze for a moment, his heart pounding. Was any of this real? His spider sense was quiet, too quiet, and that only made him more anxious. But then he realized something. "No, Mysterio. Not this time," Peter said, his voice steady. He ripped a wire from the device, and the whole room flickered, Mysterio's remaining illusions crashing down for good. With Crossbones knocked out cold by Captain America, the real base was revealed, much smaller and less sophisticated than Hydra had made them believe. Cap approached Spider-Man, catching his breath. "Good work, Kit. You handled yourself like a pro." Spider-Man smiled under his mask. "Yeah, stealth and I don't usually get along, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it." As they walked out of the now-ruined Hydra base, Cap placed a hand on Peter's shoulder. "Remember, sometimes the toughest battles are the ones fought in the shadows, not in the spotlight." Peter nodded. He wasn't used to fighting this way, but under Captain America's mentorship, he realized there was more to being a hero than just swinging in and saving the day. Sometimes, it was about patience, strategy, and knowing when to strike. As they left the base behind, a shadowy figure watched them from afar. Hydra's operations had been thwarted, but the masked figure, the one Peter had glimpsed earlier, still lingered in the background, plotting. A new threat, more dangerous and more cunning, was on the horizon. And Spider-Man, now learning the art of stealth and strategy, would be ready for it.